Wind may seem like a simple power, but in the comics, it has been used to listen to distant conversations, prevent an atmosphere from escaping through a damaged spacecraft, and transform a man into a living storm larger than a skyscraper. One of these characters has even controlled particles released by the sun itself. In this ranking, we are counting down the 10 greatest masters of air and wind, based on raw power, range, precision, and their greatest comic book feats. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments, who deserves the #1 position? Wind Dancer. Sophia Manteiga first appeared in New Mutants #1, published in 2003. Known as Wind Dancer, this mutant can control the movement of air, create currents that allow her to fly, and release powerful gusts capable of knocking enemies off balance or causing intense dizziness. After M-Day, Sophia lost her abilities and spent years living as an ordinary human. She eventually regained her aerokinesis during the Krakoan era. Her most interesting ability, however, has nothing to do with destruction. Sophia can amplify vibrations traveling through the air and guide distant sounds directly toward her ears. In practice, the wind becomes a surveillance system, allowing her to listen to conversations that would normally be impossible to hear. Her precision is impressive, but Sophia is still far from producing the destructive force demonstrated by the characters higher on this list. Texas Twister. Drew Daniels gained his powers after being struck by radioactive particles during a tornado. Introduced in Fantastic Four #177, Texas Twister can accelerate the molecules surrounding his body until they form a rotating column of wind. He does not need to find an existing storm. Drew creates the phenomenon whenever he activates his abilities. He remains inside the center of the tornado and uses its currents to fly, lift objects, and throw opponents through the air. His body also developed enhanced reflexes and an unusual resistance to dizziness, allowing him to survive the effects of his own rotation. Although he has fought heroes such as the Thing and the Human Torch, and has worked with SHIELD and the Rangers, Drew has never demonstrated the massive atmospheric scale of the characters near the top of this ranking. Whirlwind. Whirlwind does not control the wind with his mind. David Cannon is a mutant capable of spinning his entire body at superhuman speed, transforming himself into the center of a living tornado. Before adopting his most famous identity, he called himself the Human Top, but he eventually chose a name that sounded far more threatening. His rotation increases the force of his attacks, deflects incoming strikes, and makes it extremely dangerous for anyone to approach him. Whirlwind has fought several different versions of the Avengers, but his history became especially connected to his disturbing obsession with the Wasp. Even though he can challenge multiple heroes, his Cyclones are still limited by the speed and movement of his own body. Cyclone. Maxine Hunkel was introduced in Justice Society of America #1, published in 2007. As Cyclone, she can mentally control the wind, create powerful whirlwinds, and use air currents to fly or lift other people. Maxine is the granddaughter of Ma Hunkel, the first DC hero to use the name Red Tornado, even though Ma possessed no actual superpowers. The origin of Maxine's abilities also connects her to the android Red Tornado. She was exposed to nanotechnology created by T. Omoro, the scientist responsible for designing the hero's mechanical body. Because sound depends on vibrations traveling through the air, Maxine can also interfere with sound waves. She can control not only the wind around us, but even part of what we are able to hear. However, the next character can transform the air into complex physical creations. Aero. Lei Ling can sense nearly every disturbance in the air currents surrounding her, turning the atmosphere into an extension of her own senses. In theory, even an invisible enemy could reveal their position simply by breathing or moving inside her field of perception. Outside of battle, Lei works as an architect in Shanghai, which may explain the incredibly creative way she uses her abilities. Aero can create barriers, platforms, blades, and enormous structures made entirely from compressed air. In Deadly Hands of Kunlun #2, her aerokinesis evolved to the point where she could create a duplicate of herself formed from the air itself. Lei may be the most creative character in this ranking, but versatility does not always mean possessing the greatest raw power. Crystal, a member of the Inhuman royal family, can control all 4 classical elements. Through aerokinesis, she can produce tornado-level winds, fly through the air, and manipulate oxygen molecules across an area reaching approximately 30 miles. She was also the first Inhuman to join the Fantastic Four, temporarily replacing the Invisible Woman. Her most impressive feat was not creating a storm. It was preventing an atmosphere from escaping through an opening in the hull of spacecraft. Crystal compressed the air molecules tightly enough to form a selective barrier. She has also created similar protective fields to survive underwater and even inside molten lava. Her molecular control is extraordinary. But now we are entering the territory of characters capable of transforming themselves into true natural disasters. Typhoon. David Drake first appeared in The Flash number 294 after an experiment activated his metagene. As Typhoon, he can control wind, water, and electricity, allowing him to produce tornadoes, hailstorms, lightning, and enormous waves. Unlike most of the previous characters, David does not simply stand beside the phenomenon. His body can become part of the storm itself. In later issues of The Flash, and eventually in the Fury of Firestorm, Typhoon demonstrated that he could grow larger as his storm became more powerful. During some appearances, he became larger than a skyscraper while transforming into the living center of the disaster. His raw power is monstrous, but size and destruction do not necessarily represent complete mastery over a storm. Weather Wizard. Mark Martin uses a weapon capable of producing tornadoes, blizzards, thunderstorms, lightning, and violent changes in atmospheric pressure. The original designs for the weather wand belong to his brother, Clyde, who died under mysterious circumstances. Some stories have even suggested that Mark may have caused his brother's death, and later erased the memory from his own mind. Weather Wizard's greatest advantage is not simply the size of the storms he creates. It is his precision. Mark can concentrate a dangerous weather phenomenon inside a specific area without necessarily destroying everything surrounding it. His son, Josh Jackham, was born with natural weather controlling powers. This strengthened the theory that the wand may only channel an ability already present within the family's genetics. Mark could devastate an entire city by combining hurricanes, hail, and lightning. However, his dependence on the weather wand changes depending on the comic book era, and controlling the weather does not necessarily mean having a direct connection to the air itself. That distinction prevents Weather Wizard from reaching the top two positions. Red Tornado may appear to be nothing more than an android equipped with technology capable of generating powerful winds, but his true origin is far stranger. His mechanical body contains Ulthun, a powerful elemental entity once known as both the Tornado Tyrant and the Tornado Champion. Because of this, his abilities do not depend only on the machinery that forms his body. Red Tornado can release different air currents from his arms, legs, and entire body, allowing him to fly, attack, and create defensive barriers at the same time. His cyclones have moved enormous structures, redirected projectiles, and dispersed attacks that could have endangered other members of the Justice League. Because he does not need to breathe and does not become exhausted like a human being, he can maintain his winds throughout extremely long battles. Even after being destroyed and rebuilt several times, Red Tornado has continued trying to understand what it truly means to be human. He is probably the greatest character on this list when it comes to controlling wind alone. However, the number one position belongs to someone who does not simply command air currents. She controls the entire atmospheric system responsible for creating them. Storm. X-Men Storm is an Omega-level mutant capable of manipulating the forces responsible for weather itself. Aero can control atmospheric pressure, humidity, temperature, electricity, and air currents, producing everything from a gentle breeze to a devastating hurricane. Her emotional state can also influence the environment, causing the weather to react when she loses control. One of her most extraordinary feats happened in Uncanny X-Men number 99. Lost in space, Aero used the solar wind to propel her body back toward the X-Men's space station. Solar wind is not ordinary air. It is a stream of charged particles released by the sun, demonstrating that storm's connection to natural phenomena can extend far beyond Earth's atmosphere. Aero can also adapt her abilities to the atmospheric conditions of other planets, although she usually needs to understand the environment before controlling it completely. Ironically, someone capable of commanding entire skies has suffered from claustrophobia since being trapped beneath rubble as a child. Red Tornado may have a purer connection to wind, but Storm takes the number one position because of her range, versatility, and ability to control every major force responsible for creating a storm. The top position because she controls the entire atmospheric system, while Red Tornado may be the greatest exclusive master of wind. But could Weather Wizard defeat both of them through superior precision and a complete lack of moral limitations? Leave your own ranking in the comments, give the video a like, and subscribe to the channel for more comic book battles and stories.